It's just you versus Crash.
Okay, here goes nothing.
Keep trying.
Nothing.
Welcome to Character Compare, where we take two characters and simply judge them to see who's better. Today we have two PlayStation classics, the genetically engineered Eastern Barred Bandicoot Crash versus the little purple dragon Spyro. As usual, this will be a best of 3 out of 5 categories: design, personality, abilities, accomplishments, and the overall fame of the characters. But first we gotta get a little background on each character. Crash was created in 1996 by Andy Gavin and Jason Rubin, but was originally designed by Charles this guy. Crash was created so that PlayStation would have someone to compete with Nintendo's Mario and Sega's Sonic. Before gaining the name Crash, he had gone through a few different names, the most notable of which being Willy the Wombat, which was just silly. He was given the name Crash due to the fact that a main component of the gameplay was crashing into boxes. Naughty Dog would make 4 Crash games before leaving the Crash property in the hands of other developers. After the abysmal sales of Insomniac's previous game Disruptor, the Spyro the Dragon game was their last shot before having to claim bankruptcy. He was created by Charles same guy. During the idea phase of the first Spyro game, they wanted to create a character who would be appealing to 8 to 10-year-old crowds, being cute as well as having a childlike personality by being somewhat mischievous, bratty, but a big dreamer with lots of courage. He was originally meant to be green, but due to the backgrounds of the game, they changed him to purple. Insomniac would make 3 Spyro games before leaving the Spyro project to work on Ratchet & Clank series. Round 1. Design. Crash is an anthropomorphic bandicoot. That said, he looks nothing like a real bandicoot, which is really a good thing considering they designed the character even before deciding on a name, let alone his species. The reason he's orange is because back then no other major gaming character had a similar color scheme. Since his original game, he's just had more detail added to him, adding fur textures, a more definitive hairstyle and facial expressions, and putting tattoos on his arms, which I'll agree, it's unnecessary. Spyro was created with children in mind, wanting him to look cute and appealing, while still making him look strong-willed and determined, which I can personally see in the original character. He's definitely cute and appealing, but has a certain quality about him that makes him look tough. Then came the first reboot. They would make Spyro considerably larger, adding scale-like textures and overall making him more detailed. And there's that whole nose thing. I don't know how to explain it, but I don't like it. Then we get to the Skylander Spyro, who is smaller again, thank God, but now his face is severely sunken in. He doesn't even really look like the same character. Say what you want about Crash's design, but at least you can still recognize that it's him. Adding more detail isn't a bad thing, but when you drift so far from the original, it's almost as if you've created a brand new character. And I'm sad to say, Spyro doesn't look like Spyro anymore. So round 1 goes to Crash. Round 2. Personality. Every incarnation of Spyro is confident in himself, to the point of pure cockiness actually. He has little regard for his own personal safety, oftentimes allowing himself to be put in deadly situations just because it's the right thing to do. He cracks jokes, and this is due to the fact that he is still an adolescent. All in all, he's a little dragon with big ambitions. The best way to describe Crash is as a cartoon character. He's wacky, over-the-top, oblivious, extremely lucky, and kinda stupid. Crash isn't a very deep or complex character in this aspect. Now, this isn't a bad thing. The Crash Bandicoot games are more focused on the gameplay as opposed to actual characters or strong storylines. He has just enough personality to move the story along. But that's not a lot. The Spyro games give him true depth and actual character development opportunities. So, round 2 goes to Spyro.
Whoa! I did it!
See? It was only a matter of time.
Give me something more challenging.
Round 3. Abilities. Crash would be considered superior by our standards, superior strength, agility, stamina, and speed. He's also immune to mind control as demonstrated in Mind Over Mutant, but this may be due to the fact that he's pure of heart. He also has several skills in his arsenal like the signature Cyclone Spin, the Super Belly Flop, and the Double Jump. Spyro has a lot of abilities, like far more than I care to mention. I'll just limit this to the most impressive and the most iconic. Spyro is known as the rare purple dragon. This means he has access to each element of fire, ice, electricity, and earth. Apparently, wind and water aren't considered elements in the world of Spyro, but whatever. There's also a fifth element called convexity, which in theory is a combination of all four of the elements put into one purple energy blast. He can fly, has great aerial combat skills, and is also very capable of using his horns, tails, and paws very effectively in battle. Let's be honest with ourselves. Spyro has element powers, while Crash's only real power is that he's immune to mind control, and that he doesn't get dizzy from spinning as much as he does. That said, Spyro's powers are just far more impressive. So round 3 goes to Spyro.
They sure do look happy, don't they, Spyro?
Well, it's not every day the dragon gets his dragonfly.
Round 4, accomplishment. So here's what I'm gonna do. Spyro has gone through 2 reboots, which technically means there are 3 different Spyros. I'm gonna focus on the one with the longest game history, which would be the original series, excluding the Game Boy Advance games because those contradict the series continuity. And just so you know, if the game has Legend of Spyro in its title, they aren't part of the original series. Crash has only one continuity, so they all count for this. Spyro has thwarted the plots of Nasty Nork, Ripto, the Sorceress, Red, and the Sorcerer, most of them at least twice. Most of the time, these villains are looking for some sort of revenge, either specifically against Spyro, or just against dragons in general. None are completely in it for world domination, with the exception of the Sorcerer. Crash has beaten Cortex, Uka Uka, Embryo, and Dr. Entropy. There are a few other notable villains in there, but these are the important ones. These guys are in it for world domination. Hell, most of the characters in the series, good or evil, were made to conquer the world. Overall, we're looking at a difference of about 9 games of hero work. And hell, even if I did add the other Spyro games, Crash is still looking at more victories under his belt. And considering that Crash has less power to work with than Spyro does, I consider it quite an accomplishment. Round 4 goes to Crash.
I can't believe we're okay.
Crash, down here. Great job, big brother.
That just leaves the overall fame of the character. This was the first time when finding the answer was actually kinda easy. I originally thought that Spyro was still relevant, since he's still around for the Skylanders series at least. Crash was a character whose fame majorly declined during the PS2 era, while Spyro still had some very well received games with the Legend series. At least that's what I thought. It turned out that the Crash Bandicoot series still outsold the Spyro series by a good 20 million units. Besides that, you'll find that a lot of lists regarding video game heroes still puts Crash on top. Now maybe people are just nostalgic towards Crash, or maybe people are bothered by the continuity design changes of Spyro, but regardless, people still hold Crash in higher regard. So the winner of this character compare is Crash Bandicoot.
They were all counting on me, and I failed. How could I let this happen?
Some things are beyond your control. You shouldn't blame yourself.
Like what you see? Remember to write in the comments who you would like to see me compare next. Characters from your favorite cartoons, comics, and video games coming up against each other. See you next time on Character Compare.
Don't do that, Mikey. That's not a good idea, Mikey. Oh. Uh-oh.
Spyro's back. Mess with this dragon, and you'll get burned.
Now that's my idea of fun.
freaky.